Next, let's dive into probably the best series out of the whole first round. That's Cavs versus Knicks, everybody. Now, I think this is going to be a great series, but I will take the Cavs in 6 games in this one. Look, the Cavs are the best defensive team in the NBA. The Knicks aren't even in the top half of the league when it comes to defensive rating. And when I look at the Cavs defense, when you play the Knicks, you want to make sure you can guard the paint, and especially inside the 3-point line. The Cavs do that probably best, and the Cavs allow the second least amount of 3-pointers per game in the league. And guess what one of the Knicks' strengths aren't? That's shooting threes. They aren't really good at that. Now, I think when you're the Knicks and you have the scoring compliments next to Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle that you do, when you have Emmanuel Quickly and you have Josh Hart and Obi Toppin, I think that's good for them, and I think it will equate to at least 2 or 3 wins in this series for them. But I do trust the Cavs defense to stay consistent and limit what the Knicks do best. And on top of that, I feel like the Cavs defense has a way better shot and chance at limiting the Knicks stars than the Knicks defense has a chance at limiting the Cavs stars. When you look at the Cavs, you have Evan Mobley and you have Jarrett Allen to be able to defend Julius Randle, who can be inconsistent offensively sometimes. And you also have Isaac Okoro, who has done incredible versus Jalen Brunson this year. When Jalen Brunson goes up versus Isaac Okoro, he only averages 17 points per game. So not only do the Cavs have 2 guys that could potentially limit and stop Julius Randle, who's already inconsistent, they also have a guy in Isaac Okoro who's going to stick on Jalen Brunson the whole game and has been really good at limiting him. When I look at the Knicks, though, they haven't really done the best job at limiting Donovan Mitchell this year. In the last game versus Donovan Mitchell, he scored 42 points, and Josh Hart, Grimes, and Emmanuel Quickly was available to play. They were out there on the court, couldn't do anything with Donovan Mitchell. And that opens up things for Darius Garland, who has played well versus the Knicks this year. So I just feel that the Cavs have a better shot at limiting the Knicks stars than the Knicks do at limiting the Cavs stars. And I think that sets up for Donovan Mitchell to take over this series, and I think that opens up room for Darius Garland and Karis LeVert to take over. But you also got guys like Isaac Okoro and Cedi Osman to shoot well when they are open and given those opportunities based on the defense shifting to Donovan Mitchell or Darius Garland. So I think the Cavs get it done versus the Knicks because of their defense and their offensive firepower. I think it'll be a close series because I do like the Knicks bench. I just don't like them defensively better than I like the Cavs. So I will take the Cavs in this series. Alright, so Bucks versus either the Heat or the Bulls, everybody. Now, this video is being recorded before that play-in game finishes, so I don't know officially who the Bucks are facing yet, but it's either going to be the Heat or the Bulls. No matter who it is, though, I think the Bucks are going to take the series in either 5 or 6 games, probably just 5. Now, when I look at the Bulls and the Heat, they're both teams that like to rely on interior scoring offensively, and that's where the Bucks' strength is defensively. And both of these teams aren't necessarily the best 3-point shooting teams. So when I look at that, knowing that the Bucks can take away both of these teams' strengths of interior scoring, I think this is the Bucks series to take defensively. Also, just don't think that the Bulls and the Heat can really match what the Bucks can do offensively. And I'm not really all that sure how the Bulls or the Heat are going to stop Giannis or the shooters around Giannis. Both of these teams are teams that aren't necessarily great at defending the 3-point line. So I do think this is the Bucks series to take, given that I believe they will be able to have shooters be successful around Giannis, knowing what kind of shooters the Bucks have, and just knowing that the Bucks can take away what the Bulls and the Heat can do best. All right, next up, Hawks versus Celtics, everybody. I think the Hawks actually could put a little scare on the Celtics in this series because they do have some offensive firepower. But let's not forget, the Celtics have the number 2 ranked defense in the NBA this year. So look, man, I think they do have a great opportunity at taking away Trae Young and DeJounte Murray in this series, just because their perimeter defending guards with Derek White, Malcolm Brogdon, and then obviously Marcus Smart and Jaylen Brown, who could do some things, and Jayson Tatum, it's just so good to the point where it is going to be really tough for Trae Young and DeJounte Murray to really lead the way in this one. So I think the Celtics are going to force the Hawks' other offensive playmakers to really step up. And I think the Celtics defense is good enough not to allow the supporting cast of Trae Young and DeJounte Murray really beat them. So I will take the Celtics in this series in 6 games. I do think this Hawks offense is good enough to push this to a 6-game series, but their defense, man, I just don't think it's good enough. It's one of the worst defenses in the league this year. They're very inconsistent at defending threes. They're not a great paint defense at all, and I think the Celtics could really get things done in the painted area and beyond the 3-point line in this one. So I think the Celtics defensively will get the job done and be able to take Trae Young and DeJounte Murray out of it and force the Hawks' other supporting cast members to make plays. And I think they could really have their way offensively in this one, everybody. And I think it'll make it really hard for the Hawks to really have an answer in this one, everybody. So I will take the Celtics in 6 games. I like them defensively in this one, and I think they could play some complementary basketball offensively. And listen, the Hawks really just are an inconsistent team in itself. Like all through this year, they just have been inconsistent, and I really can't trust that come playoff time. The Celtics, more proven, consistent team. So for me, this was kind of easy, but like I said, I think the Hawks could steal 2 games because their offense is no joke. But I do think the Celtics take this series in 6 games. All right, so 76ers versus Nets, man. Look, I'ma just be honest. I just gotta be honest here. I don't give the Nets much of a chance to win in this series versus the 76ers. I will take the 76ers in this series in 5 games. No, I do think the Nets could take 1 game just because I do see something with them offensively sometimes with Mikal Bridges and Spencer Dinwiddie and with some of their shooters that I think could get them 1 game. And they're not that bad defensively, but their offensive execution is very inconsistent. It is nowhere near post All-Star break where the 76ers offense is. Look, the Nets offense post All-Star break is 24th in the league, 26th in points per game, and they're not very efficient because they're 30th in field goal percentage. We already know what's going on the other side of the ball with the Sixers offensively. They're a really good offensive team with many offensive playmakers. I just don't believe in the Nets' offensive execution or playmaking ability to really match up with Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, James Harden, and all that the 76ers will be throwing at them in this series. I just don't trust the Nets offense to match up with what the Sixers have on offense over there in Philly. So I will take the 76ers in this series in 5 games. Mikal Bridges is a special player, but he can't do it by himself. He'll pretty much be doing that in this series. So I will take the 76ers over the Nets in 5 games.